happened? Demna showed his first collection as creative director of Gucci, and we need to break this down, okay? So I'm going to try my best to explain all of the elements in this video and also just my general thoughts about it. Is this just another round of what he did at Balenciaga? Or is this going to be the thing that turns Gucci on its head? Let's discuss. Guys, if you are new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Gucci is a heritage luxury brand. This is a brand that if you stop a random person on the street and go, name me 3 designer brands, Gucci is probably going to be one of them. Created in 1921, it's gone through quite a number of creative directors, right? But there are certain ones that I think, especially in like recent memory, we really hold on to and know those reference points really well. So for example, Tom Ford. This was seen as like a massive turning point in the brand. Tom Ford's Gucci is sexy. It's mysterious. It's those sex sells ad campaigns. It is sheer and thongs and all of those sorts of things, right? But there's also a very sort of minimalist aspect to it as well. A lot of people recently are like, I want Tom Ford for Gucci back. Let's see if that is coming. Then you have somebody like Frida Giannini, who a lot of people sort of forget, I think because she was quite commercial in her designs. It was sort of leaning on that sort of very like Italian glamour, sort of 70s vibe. Now what sort of happened in that time frame is that Gucci then was sort of struggling. So they had to do something somewhat drastic. Enter Alessandro Michele. Alessandro Michele's Gucci is so specific. It is eclectic maximalism, sort of like grandma chic-ish, more is more, florals on top of lace, on top of crystals, on top of logo mania heavy. He really did incredible things for the brand and shot them up to numbers and sales that they had never before seen. Then things started to peter off a bit. And then we had in 2023, Sabato de Sarno come into the role of creative director. He did something very different and again sort of went back to that a little bit more minimalist vibe of the brand. That wasn't really pulling in the numbers that they'd hoped for, and then Gucci decided to shock everybody and appoint Demna as creative director. Demna was creative director of Balenciaga and previously of Vetements, which is his own brand with his brother. He is known for sort of skin-tight jersey silhouettes, and then on the opposite end of the spectrum, like really oversized streetwear-infused designs, sort of dystopian meme culture, if that menagerie of words means anything to you. And of course, he leaned a lot on the shock factor, which we will get back to. But Gucci is basically having a little bit of an identity crisis. Going from Alessandro Michele to Sabato de Sarno is like going from listening to death metal and then halfway through, the music cuts out and it's wind chimes. Okay? It's very, very different. This confuses the customer. As a customer, you get used to a certain creative designer's work, you buy into the brand, the world of Gucci that they've created for you, and then when a creative director comes in, and especially when they do something very different, oh, sorry, I'm not used to this. This is where I used to go to for horse bits and over the top and, you know, eccentricity and things like that, and at the moment, that's not what I'm getting at all. So the sales then reflected this. Obviously, there are also outside factors. Generally, luxury fashion hasn't been doing the best and things like that. But in terms of revenue, Gucci has had the biggest drops compared to a lot of other brands, okay? So 2023, it started to peter off. We were down 6%. Then 2024, we're down 20, 24, 26% each quarter, and then that's continued on this year. Q1 of 2025 down 24%, Q2 of 2025 down 25%, okay? This is not great. So instead of sticking and committing to Sabato de Sarno and hoping that, you know, the customer sort of learns to understand what Sabato's Gucci looks like, this is where I was. I was like, okay, I think I know what we're getting here, and things like that. They decided to take the phrase Desperate times call for desperate measures, and in enters Demna. I think that it's also been sort of quoted that Gucci wanted like a cultural moment. With Demna, it's that shock factor. It is rolls of tape as bracelets. It's a skirt that looks like a towel. Well, it is a towel. It's not even trompe l'oeil. It's a sodding towel. You know, it's things like this. It's, what was it? There was a trash bag that was an actual bag, so on and so forth. There are so many examples, right? But here's the thing. People either really, really love Demna, or people really, really do not like Demna. Guess which camp I'm in. Anyway, we're going to get back to that. Obviously, we're in the throes of Fashion Week / Fashion Month, and whilst he has not presented a runway show for Gucci, what he did do was drop 38 pictures, 37 of which are these sort of characters or archetypes that he's created for his world of Gucci. Now, this is quite clever in that, and he's done this at Balenciaga as well, in that as a customer, you sort of get to understand, okay, the direction that he's going with Gucci through each of these little personas. There is a character for everybody, let me tell you. Here's just a few that I've written down. La VIP, who was head to toe in Gucci, as was the VIC, very important customer, which I thought that actually was very clever. There's the nerd, which, to be honest with you, doesn't look all that nerdy to me. I'm like, where are you getting your nerd information from? The narcissista, l'influencer, party boy, principessa, the princess, the drama queen, the diva, just to name a few. They're all in Italian, so some of them are sort of common sense to translate. Some of them you will need Google Translate on your side. Disclaimer, I'm not a Demna fan. Okay, and I've not been a fan of his designs at Balenciaga. They were never for me anyway. Then the scandal happened, which obviously has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Some people have moved on from that and, you know, were happy with the apology or whatever, but a lot of people haven't, and that has sort of attached to him and his career going forward, right? However, with this, I just want to be very honest about how I feel about the collection. Whether or not I like something doesn't mean that I will buy it, okay? But I just want to give my general thoughts, especially because this is a really big and important collection in fashion. It's one of the big debuts that we've been looking at. And I got messages on Instagram that I should talk about it. And so here I am. Truthfully, I didn't hate it. I actually thought, damn, that's not a bad job he's decided to do there. I think that we were all worried that he was going to tank it based on his track record. However, I think what is really obvious, especially at this stage, here's the thing, let's see what happens going on from here, let's see what happens with the runways and things like that, and this is only season 1. But what he's done is that he has very much paid homage to previous creative directors, which is why I laid the foundation earlier on in this video, okay? The Alessandro Michele influence is there. You've got these feather-trimmed caftan pieces, that feels very him. The sort of chiffon with these feather trims again, especially also with the VIP and the VIC logo heavy top to toe, which once again feels like that moment in time where Michele was at the helm. Big focus on the Marmont logo. As we know, I have a history with the Marmont logo. It doesn't have a history with me. It's just me. It's a one-sided beef that I have with a logo. Yes, odd. Here we are. So big focus on that. Earrings, belts, necklaces like lariat necklaces, those sorts of pieces. Interesting that there's still going to be that focus on that, because I think this season from Gucci we've seen going back to like the older interlocking GG logo, right? Anyway, then you have a huge Tom Ford influence in this as well. You've got the intraverso, that screams Tom Ford to me. The archetypes that are just wearing like a little budgie smuggler with a tie on the side, copy and paste from Tom Ford. The sheer outfit, what was that? Androgino, all sheer outfit, again, very similar to like Tom Ford era. The boots as well. I couldn't get too much of detail there on the shoes, but generally there were quite a lot of these sort of knee-high boots. Again, that is very much a Tom Ford silhouette. La Cattiva, which I think translates to like the baddie, the bad one in Italian. All black croc, again, That seemed very Tom Ford to me. I also think that there is that Frida Giannini sort of influence there, especially with the La Bomba, and the one that translates as the girl. Like very simple miniskirt, top, boots sort of situation. I do also see Sabato de Sarno, especially in L'Influencer. This to me, if you'd have told me that this walked the runway last season, I would have been like, okay, yeah, that tracks to me. So I'm seeing these sorts of moments. Demna is also going to be Demna, and there are very obvious, in my opinion, silhouettes and designs that feel like, once again, if you'd have shown me a Balenciaga lookbook and showed me these, I would have been like, okay. So the silhouette of the La Contessa, the sort of velvet structured collar of Le Snob, the little tight sort of party sequin dress of Miss Aperitivo, all of those feel very Balenciaga to me. Now, in terms of the bags, there was a huge focus on the Jackie in various different, nothing too crazy. The one that stood out to me the most as being very different was the sort of maxi version of it, worn crossbody with the canvas. There were also these ones that look to be done in very soft leather. They almost look like, I'm sure that you can get vintage versions of these that look exactly the same, right? This sort of soft leather, because if you look at Gucci Jackie bags now, they're very structured. So there's that. There are also these little sort of pochettes with the Gucci web down the front that seem like quick wins, in my opinion, but also the bamboo top handle. But none of those sort of like looked any different to what you can currently get in store. There was one picture in this sort of lineup of pictures that was not of a person and was instead the trunk. And that made me think immediately of Louis Vuitton. And I thought, aha, Gucci does have some sort of history with travel and trunks and those sort of like, you know, luggage. However, I don't think it's had as much of an impact, definitely, as Louis Vuitton. It's also not what they built their brand on like Louis Vuitton did. And I also don't think that their sort of previous attempts at positioning Gucci as like a place that you go to for luggage has been all that successful. I don't think that we make that connection. So I wonder if this is something that he is going to be doing a lot, integrating a lot into shows, integrating a lot into collections, going down this sort of trunk route. Interesting. The future of Gucci. Clearly there's going to be a massive Jackie push. Clearly he has ferreted through the archives, and also those people that were wanting Tom Ford for Gucci back. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy with this. The success of this is sort of based on two things. Number one, if he can shed his like past reputation, and also the pricing. The pricing is going to play a massive factor in this and how successful it is. And that is also where it's going to be, how commercially successful are the bags? How commercially successful are the shoes? Is there a knit bag? Is there a knit shoe? Which we also haven't seen that much of in this collection. Now, this collection apparently, I think it's out for a limited time in boutiques on the 25th of September. But generally, I was very surprised by this. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are. I sort of have my own sort of beef with Demna and whatnot. However, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd be interested to hear this. I know this, it's a very sort of like controversial appointment and therefore collection. And is this something that, are you happy with this? Did you absolutely hate it? Did you love it? Do you love it but won't be participating in it? Let me know. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.